And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second Team League match of the night. Welcome back to World Team League 2023 Winter Codes, round 11, day number 2. The final round of the round robin group stage. This is the final opportunity for these teams to get some points and to solidify themselves in the playoffs as well. It has been an intense season of WTL, and it all comes down to this. Again, both Matcherino and Platinum Heroes are actually pretty close in the standings. They are still not secure yet in their placement here. I believe currently Matcherino is number 9, Platinum Heroes is number 10, but you do need to get into the top 7, I believe, to make it out. Sorry, top 8? Top 8, yeah. Oh boy, and I think maybe Matcherino, I don't think they can make it through, but regardless, they're going to be duking it out here against the Platinum Heroes, and this is going to be a much closer series, I believe. Much closer compared to what we had previously, much closer compared to Basilisk versus the Clangdon Freaks, and here we go. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold in this PvP between Goblin and Astrea. Predictions open. Seems to have own PK tank. Oh, if you want to go to bench, Bappy. Or if you want, you can subscribe and use the proper bench emote. You can. It's beautiful. It's a duck. As game 1 is going to be on Hecate. Let us go. Again, as a reminder, it's going to be a PvP, so going to be a little bit closer here when it comes to how things can unfold. I do want to favor Astrea. Astrea is going to be coming in as the favorite player, but this could still go either way. And here we go in the bottom left-hand corner. We have, for the Platinum Heroes, Goblin. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have for Matcherino Esports. It is Astrea. Let's go. Again, Astrea being our most recent, or actually for the entire year, the NA champion from ESL Masters Americas. And before we get into the players, big shout out to the sponsors as well for WTL, Doyu, Honkai Star, Taidu, and Autofool as well. Without those lovely sponsors, we would not have these events. Again, they help support World Team League, they help support Kung Fu Cup, and they also help support Masters Coliseum. I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again here in this new series. Masters Coliseum 7 has been announced by the organizers of WTL, and the Masters Coliseum qualifiers are next week. We will be covering them. It's going to be qualifiers for the Asia region, for Europe, and for Korea, all leading into one big premier event. There will be invited players based on their performances in WTL. That's another big reason why individual standings and individual ELO in WTL is important, because you do get invited, you get seeded into Masters Coliseum. Not just WTL, but also Kung Fu Cup. Outside of that, we are getting into our openers. It looks like Astrea is going to be going for a double gate opener. Likewise, so is Goblin. So everything is looking mirrored for the time being. Mirrored builds here between our players. Goblin has been a rising star in the European region for a number of years now. For a long time, he was on Team Roddy. Then, of course, he spread his wings. He got picked up by Platinum Heroes a couple of years ago, and he's been doing well for himself. What I will say, though, is that on the Platinum Heroes, he has kind of been overshadowed in recent times. Last season, it was DNS. This season, it was Firefly. The Platinum Heroes, they have a lot of really strong Protoss players in their lineup, and it can be sometimes a little bit hard to really shine amongst them if you're a player like Goblin or ShaDoWn, for example. But they're still powerful players in their own right, and very unique as well. Goblin, he's very prone to incorporating Sky Toss, for example, or Phoenixes if he can. So I'm ready for it. I'm excited. For now, we do have a double Stalker out of Astrea. I believe Stalker Sentry out of Goblin. There we go. Sentries are on the way. As we are easing into this, so far, no proxy, no fake hidden pylon. Goblin and Astrea are going for their expansions. Ooh, as probe scouts are being forced back. We're dragging Goblin out of position, by the way. Uh-oh. And Astrea, he has the high ground. That probe may go down, but Astrea, he's hoping to catch this Stalker. And there we go. Does catch him. 2 for 1. The probe survived as well. The probe did make it out. Ay, ay, ay. And this is going to be a nice little win here for Astrea. Doesn't look like the biggest of deals, but killing one Stalker almost for free like this, like, is huge in the early game. Every unit counts. Behind this, we're getting into our tech. Both players are going for their Twilight Councils. We mentioned before that because Goblin went for a slightly faster Sentry, he gets a Scout up. Hallucination does confirm the base location as well as the tech of choice. Likewise, Astrea should be scouting soon as well. And there we go. Hallucination is moving towards the left-hand side of the map. Likewise, is going to be confirming the Twilight Council and the Natural Waste timing. Oh my god, Astrea going straight for a third! That is a... We don't even have any saturation at the natural, by the way. Like, the natural of Goblin isn't even done. This is so greedy from Astrea, and this is why I love Astrea in general. He is a very quirky player, not just in PvP, but in other matchups as well. Astrea is willing to be more exploratory. He's willing to be more diverse in his play. And rushing to a third base, and he's faking out a push here, hallucinating 4 Stalkers. Oh my god. Astrea just puffing up his chest, making it look like he only has 2 Stalkers, by the way. That's all he has in this army, but he's forcing a massive reaction. Shield batteries are on the way. Robots being prioritized into Immortal production, I imagine. There we go. Immortals on the way. For Astrea, I should say. And yeah, now Hallucination does realize what's been happening. The jig is up. Goblin now sees the third. But again, I love that out of Astrea, just faking out his opponents. Getting into his Immortal production. Am I crazy? I thought I saw Astrea go for a Twilight Council, but maybe I had just seen the production tab of Goblin instead. It looks like he has not been able to go and invest into Blink. Now, as the dust does settle, Astrea, he will have the better economy. Straight up. Yeah, he does have a Twilight Council. It's going to be a robot. So Astrea, he does have he is going to have a better economy, but his army is going to be weaker. But that's where the Immortals come into play. Even if you're down 4, 5, 6 Stalkers, a handful of Immortals will make up for that. They will make up for your Stalker deficit, especially defensively back at home with the help of shield batteries. So Astrea, he's building up an Immortal army here before eventually getting into his gateway tech of choice, most likely Charge. Hallucination confirms that the army is still back at home. Also confirms the Robo just now finishing, and you can see that Goblin wants to be aggressive. He knows that he's behind. He knows that he is behind in the economy, so we have that Cybercore? We have that War Prism on the way. With this, we can reinforce. With this, we can push. Meanwhile, Astrea, he's taking up even further. He's going Immortal into Disruptors. That is a Robotics Bay on the way for the Red Protoss. Ay. We are taking up quite heavily here into Forge, into +1. This is a lot of tech, and if the game goes on longer, Astrea is going to get away with so much. But can he get away with it? Again, Goblin, he knows that he's under a lot of pressure. He knows that he has to make something happen here. As he moves out, Adepts move in. Goblin just wants to push, and probes are going down. Good positioning, forcing a recall. We recalled not all the Stalkers, but a handful of them. And so many probes are going down. Astrea already had an economic lead, and now an even greater one. 6 probes go down, but Goblin, he goes for the blink into the main base. Once again, Hallucination. We do have 3 Immortals. Looks to be 4, though. Good force fields are thrown down. Good juggling here as well from Astrea. We'll lose 1 Stalker. But his army's in position, and he does force Goblin back. Again, Astrea doesn't have to kill the army, just has to defend, just has to hold, just has to force back the army. And he's not going Disruptor. He's going Colossus. He's crazy. Oh my god. Going straight into Colossus production instead. Now, for those wondering, Colossus do have a place in a PvP matchup. They're very niche. Basically, Colossus are like a... They're a different way to get into an anti-Zealot army. To deal with Zealots, to deal with Charge Lots, you get Archons, true. They do a lot of splash damage. Colossi, they're, again, an alternate way. That's the word I was looking for. An alternate way to deal with Charge Lots in a gateway composition. They provide you some consistent splash damage as well. They're not as impactful as Disruptors, but, you know, they're a little bit reliable. They're okay. You don't see them too often, though. Mainly it's like Skillus. Skillus, he's in love with Colossus in PvP. Astrea, he's flirting with the idea. Meanwhile, we can see Goblin behind this, getting into his own second Robo. Double Disruptor production on the way for Goblin. A much more standard. Again, Goblin, he's playing a standard PvP. Astrea, he's just throwing out these curveballs left and right. A lot more unique. A lot more varied. Here we go. As Goblin, his aggression has subsided. He's trying to recover here on his 3 bases. Astrea, meanwhile, Extent Dominance about to kick in. Second or even third Colossus on the way. Blink as well. Colossus has been revealed. And Astrea, he's just chilling. Just big chilling here, taking a fourth even. Taking another base. Does try to catch this army. Doesn't have Blink, but does force a recall. And with that recall being forced, Astrea is pushing. He's looking to deny the 4th base of his opponent. Unfortunately, rocking up at the wrong 4th. But he can push towards the natural. Disruptors have arrived. Don't blink! Oh my god. We have to be very careful with our army. Novas are soon going to be going up. And without Blink, Astrea, he has very limited mobility here against them. So be very careful with how he engages. This Goblin is pushing out. Fearsome is going to be forced back. Astrea respecting the disruptors. Is going to give Goblin a little bit more room. Or just rotating back around. 4th base of Astrea is getting up and running. Astrea, he still hasn't got eyes on the 4th base of Goblin. He doesn't know where it is. I'm sure he's assuming it just isn't there. Oh. Blink gonna finish up in a couple of seconds. There it is, 13 seconds away. Oh my god. Astrea just needs a little bit more time and then he can dive. Yeah, he's looking for it as well. Pushing from both angles. Blink is done. Never goes off. Ooh, big connection here with the Colossus, but they just tanked the disruptor shots. Not the Stalkers though. Big connections. Nova's going to be going off as well. The last one does miss. And it looks like Astrea just may have too much. Nova's connected with the Immortals. Big connection on the right-hand side. But the Stalkers are breaking through. We dive on top of the disruptors. Big Nova goes off, but it's not going to be enough. GG gets called. And Astrea will take game number 1. GG. Again, Astrea, he did take some Novas to the face, but macro-wise, Astrea snowballed out of control. He was able to get a really fast 3rd base, get a faster 4th base as well, defend, survive, and get away with so much tech and just snowball out of control. Eventually, his economy was reflected in his army size as he was up in supply, and with that, he had the better concave, better engage. GG. GG, well played. A solid game 1 there out of Astrea. But we are looking to fight back, to bounce back here in game 2. I want to believe. I want to believe we can pull this off here. It is going to be Goblin's map of choice. Max, laptop gamer. Yeah, for those wondering, the reason why we're getting this kind of low angle shots of Max, I believe he's back home. He's back at home with family, and I believe he's using his phone as a webcam. Demi, you can, if you know anything else, maybe you can correct us. But I believe we're basically getting like a cam shot, like an iPhone cam shot from Astrea, as it's like right next to his keyboard, essentially. Not his usual setup. Let's go. Yeah, who needs a gaming PC? Just play on a laptop, bud. Just play on a laptop. Let's go. Is that how his family also looks at Astrea? It's how I want to look at Astrea, okay? It's how we all want to look at Astrea, okay? Let's be real, papi. Let's be real. Ay. Let's go. As we are loading into this and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have a Goblin for the Platinum Heroes. And in the bottom right, we have, for Matcherino, Astrea. And this is Goblin's map of choice. An interesting map choice. Oceanborn does have a shorter rush distance by ground, so you can be more assertive and more aggressive. The 4th base is more exposed. The 3rd is pretty defendable, but the 4th is a lot more out there and a lot more vulnerable. So we'll see if Goblin does plan on being a little bit more aggressive here as we get into game 2. Which one is Matcherino? Astrea. You can see on the top the logos. You can see PH is Platinum Heroes, MX is Matcherino, and Astrea is playing for Matcherino Esports. You can also tell by the border on the webcam. You can see it's a little bit hard to see, but for Goblin's webcam, it's a blue border for Platinum Heroes, and for Astrea, it's a red border. So you can see a little bit better there if you are curious. It is color-coded. As we get into this, so far, Astrea coming in with a probe scout across the map, confirming that everything is back at home. It's true. It's very acidic. Yes. Animals. But the probe scout comes in and does get eyes on the pylon. Same can be said for Goblin. So essentially here in the early game of PvP, it's all about just confirming where the second pylon is. It is very commonplace in this matchup for the second pylon to be thrown down out on the map, whether it's a fake proxy pylon or a very real proxy pylon. It's something you have to be wary of, and both players, they confirm that everything is looking normal. Everything is on the up and up. Second pylons are in their respective bases. So far, both players confirmed the standard opener, and we have our first two units of choice. It's going to be Stalker Sentry out of Goblin, Double Stalker out of Astrea. Fun fact, mirrored builds compared to Game 1. Game 1, Astrea also went Double Stalker. Game 1, Goblin also went Stalker Sentry. That's also why, if you remember, Goblin got his first Stalker caught out, because he didn't really have the Stalker count, and he was kind of lured out into the open by the probe. But I'm sure Goblin is going to be a little bit more wary of that. As we are going to be moving out here. Again, we can see just the positioning of the third pylon further back in the main base has been hidden. But Astrea is going to be pushing, expanding here on location as well. Goblin should soon be scouting with his hallucination to confirm what exactly is going on, where the pylons are, and where the base has been taken. Again, Goblin may actually be fooled into believing it's going to be a one-base all-in here. But now additional sentries on the way. The Stalkers have arrived. They're going to be poking and prodding. Goblin will force this back. As Astrea once again opening up, not with the Twilight Council, but with a Robo. Robo is going to be his second choice. This is usually very defensive. It's a way to get into faster Immortals. We could throw down a third gateway and go for a Warp Prism and be hyper aggressive, but usually a Robo opener is just very defensive. Just very defensive here from Astrea. Just like last game. See in the chat. Actually, it's PH. it's PH, if you will. Thank you, War. Thank you for the correction. Behind this, we spoke about the defensive opener of Astrea going for that Robo first, and we see why he's going straight to a very fast third base as well. Hallucination is going to be coming in. Astrea confirming the tech. He does get eyes on the Twilight Council. He gets eyes on the natural base up and running, and Goblin will soon realize what's been going on as well. So this is very similar to last game. The biggest difference, if you remember, in Game 1, Astrea faked out two-base aggression with all these hallucinations, and he made it look like he was going all in, and he hit his third base. This time, Goblin is that much more faster, confirming the timing of the third. As a result, Goblin responds with his own third. Faster than last game. Not as fast as Astrea's, but not too far behind. So Goblin, his answer upon seeing the greed of Astrea is not to punish it, is to try to catch up. So bold move out of Goblin. His goal here is to try to keep up with Astrea's economy. Meanwhile, Astrea, he's got the Immortal advantage. We do have a Prism on the way. I think this Prism is only for harassment. I don't think Astrea intends to move out with a committed push. With this Warp Prism, he will be able to actually ferry Adepts into the main base to get some economic damage done. We'll see. We'll see if he moves out with the army. As for now, he's going to be chilling here, establishing his third. Forge now on the way, Twilight Council as well. Astrea's Twilight Council is delayed, that is true, but I don't think he intends to actually move out and commit before any kind of big blink timing. Again, with the Robo Opener, just being defensive, still going to be stuck at home instead. Goblin has map control, but with it, he's not really achieving too much. Getting into a faster charge, though. Immortal production continuing. I wouldn't be surprised if with this Twilight Council he goes into charge instead of blink. Like if he skips blink instead, that would make sense here for Astrea. And Epps getting ready to harass Astrea. He takes a 4th base as well. Again, just Astrea being so greedy in this PvP. Always the first to expand, always the first to focus on his economy. As a result, forcing his opponent to react to him. Astrea is the one making moves. Goblin the one reacting. Meanwhile, here we go. The War Prism has arrived. Now, I assume the War Prism would be moving out for harassment, but it's been chilling at home. Meanwhile, Hallucination just saw the 4th base. Goblin responds with his own 4th, so once again, Goblin is 1 step behind when it comes to the economy, but again, trying to keep up. And here we go. He's moving out with his army. Massive wall being set up here by Astrea. Oh my... Talking about turtling up. Astrea's like, yo, you've heard of European PvP where it's like no rush, like 15 minutes? Yo, I got you. As a Goblin has arrived, his goal here to force a cancel on the 4th, they should be able to. Astrea, he may have walled off. Is that a kill? I didn't quite see. No shot. We may... Regardless, we do deny the 4th there. I didn't quite get to see if we got the resources back or not for that. But regardless, Astrea, he was setting up defensively. He was walling off, but again, his 4th was vulnerable. And now suddenly, Goblin has the faster 4th, and this will allow him to catch back up in the economy. He will be able to catch up. Charge is done. We're getting into the rest of our upgrades as well. Astrea trying to keep up with his own blink and +1, going blink instead of charge. In a head-to-head fight, I would still favor Astrea just because of those immortals, but we'll see what kind of direction Goblin takes us in. Here we go. As Goblin is going to be rotating through the center of the map. Moving over towards that 4th. Once again, looking to cancel it, looking to deny it. Astrea building up his forces. Again, these immortals do pack quite a punch, so that's why in a head-to-head fight I still want to favor Astrea. That's a lot of charge lots, and we don't have Archons or Colossi. Not this time. Goblin taking a 5th base behind this. Now it's going to be his turn to take an economic lead. He's up in workers, up in economy. Goblin rotating towards the center of the map. Is going to be spotted by the observer. Astrea likewise rotating as well over towards the natural. Trying to keep up with the movement of Goblin. So far, so good. And I am a little bit concerned that we don't have an answer for these zealots. So usually, to deal with all these mass charge lots in PvP, Archons are the traditional way. Of course, you can also go Colossus like we saw in the previous game as well. A couple of adepts do get across the map. 2 adepts do one-shot workers. We get 3, we get 4 probes. And Astrea is pushing towards the 5th. Goblin a little bit out of position, but he's coming in from the right-hand side. And he's coming in with his mass charge lots. He's getting on top of the Immortals. The Immortals, the shields are triggered. 8 probes go down, and Astrea, he is committing. Good force fields. Slicing up the army, forcing those Stalkers back. And as a result, Astrea, he shaves off most of those Zealots before the Stalkers could even engage. Really good fight so far here by Astrea. But here we go, you can see that Goblin is trying to set up a surround as well. Force fields are thrown down, Astrea backing off. And once again, the Zealots are being dealt with. Yeah, we clean up all the Zealots. Goblin essentially fighting with only half his army. And you can see Goblin fighting with only half his army, and Astrea takes a massive supply lead. Goblin bleeding out far too much there. That was 2 fights in a row where Goblin just bled out all of his Zealots. And now Astrea, he's snowballing out of control. Remember, Goblin had the better economy, but Astrea now suddenly has the larger army. And now he's pushing in towards the 3rd base. Massive engage. We do have a shield battery, we do have an overcharge, but the numbers are snowballing out of control in favor of Astrea with the mass Blink Stalker. Blinks are looking good. The force fields aren't there anymore, but we don't need them. Not anymore. The overcharge is not going to be enough. We take down one of the Immortals. We take down both Immortals, but GG gets called. Astrea overwhelms, and Astrea will take the series 2-0. Oh, GG. GG, well played. The laptop man does it again. Ah. Very solid performance there from Astrea. Does take the 2-0 here. I was getting concerned, not gonna lie. I was getting a little bit concerned for him. It looked like Goblin was taking control of the map. He was denying the 4th base. He was getting ahead when it comes to the quality of his army. I was really concerned that that Astrea would fall behind, but just really good engagement, specifically really good force fields. The force fields were the MVPs there for Astrea, just zoning away all those stalkers time and time again, fighting half the army at once, despite the fact that initially Goblin was ahead in army supply. He did have the higher army supply, did have the larger army, but couldn't make use of it. GG, well played. With that, we're not done. We have that much more PvPs ahead of us. Up next, ShaDoWn versus Nightmare. Let's go. Meanwhile, we're going to be going on a short break. I'm going to be setting up the predictions. When we return, we will have our next PvP. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We just wrapped up with Astrea versus Goblin, and now we have returned with our second best of 2 hero. We're just diving right on in, and spawning in the top right hand corner for the Platinum Heroes, it is ShaDoWn. And in the bottom left, we have, for Matcherino Esports, it is Nightmare. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold. Good luck, baby. Good luck. Predictions open. There we go. You see in the chat, some people asking about the format. Just to quickly reiterate as well, this is a best of 7 between the two teams, but each of these individual matches are best of 2. So we had a best of 2 between Astrea and Goblin, and we're going to have a best of 2 here between ShaDoWn and Nightmare as well. Best of 2 means that it can go 2-0 either direction, or it could also be a tied 1-1 score. It's a very unique format to World Team League, not really done elsewhere. Best of 2s are very uncommon. I remember there was like one Home Story Cup where they had a bunch of best of 2s, and a couple of tournaments have experimented with best of 2s before, but again, it's not really a common format in most tournaments. But I do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very refreshing thing here for WTL. I don't think I would push for it in like all tournaments, but I'm more than happy with it here in this Team League format. More than happy. For now though, we are just diving into our final PvP here of potentially final PvP. As a reminder as well, because it's a best of 7, first to 4 do take the win here. If we do get a bunch of like tied series though, we could have an ace match, which will be a best of 1, and in that ace match we could also have another PvP as well. It's possible. Oh, the PvPs. Until then, we're getting into this. Of course, we're loading into Radisson Station. I should also emphasize the craziness of the map itself. Now, Game 1, the map is predetermined. No vetoes. No vetoes here in WTL. That's another beautiful thing about this format. As a result, the admins, the organizers, they force Radisson Station, the most vetoed map in the map pool. The reason for this is because of how defendable it is as well. We are fully walled off. Nightmare, he goes for a full wall off here. Add to the natural base. He's going to be going for a Sentry Stalker opener. Usually on Radisson Station, it is a race to greed. It's a race to be as greedy as possible because you have your natural and you also have a pocket base as well. A very unique feature of this map. Pocket bases are essentially a free third base that is walled off from the rest of the map, so it is just free to take and very safe to expand to. Because of that, we have seen a lot of players in a lot of matchups just cut as many corners as they can and be as greedy as possible here on Radisson Station as well. And we'll see where this goes, because we have typically different dynamics. Usually when it comes to players here on Radisson Station, it's either our players rush to greed, or one or even both players try to all in. And they try to catch their opponent being too greedy as well. Because of the map itself, because the likelihood of their opponent cutting too many corners is quite high, sometimes you have players blindly take a risk, take a chance, and just go for an all-in, hoping to catch their opponent with their pants down. And it works. It does work. Meanwhile, we have our tech of choice. We do have Nightmare going for a Gate Cyber expand into a Twilight Council opener. Likewise, ShaDoWn doing the same. His Twilight Council is a little bit more delayed, but on the way nonetheless. It is going to be on the way. Both players just getting themselves set up here on 2 bases. You can see that Nightmare and ShaDoWn, they've already started working on those minerals. There are a handful of mineral patches that are blocking the expansion from being taken. So that does delay the expansion a little bit here, but that is why both ShaDoWn and Nightmare are mining those mineral patches as we speak to gain access to that base. Teamlings have it. They do. They do. I did mention before that Home Story Cup used to have it. I think there was one season. Was there one season of DreamHack a couple of years ago that had it? Potentially. I remember when we casted Home Story Cup with best of 2s, and there were so many games. There was so, because it's round robin. It was round robin best of 2 with like 8 players in each group. It was just so many games to cast. It was crazy. And there was a lot of map involved in the round robin matches. Meanwhile, at Eps, they do shade into the mineral line. They don't get much done, though. It looks like maybe one probe went down. Do get a full scout. Meanwhile, both ShaDoWn and Nightmare working towards their robos, working towards their forges as well for +1. And once again, Nightmare just coming in for a scout, getting eyes on the would-be third. And both players are just keeping eyes on each other. They're just getting a read on what their opposing player is up to. But no one is being hyper greedy here. I'm a little bit disappointed. We have seen a lot of players rush into Sky Toss or rush into Double Robo Disruptor, something crazy like that. Here, it feels like both players are respecting each other quite a lot. They're being greedy, don't get me wrong, and they're being, very passive, but they're not going for any kind of crazy alternate tech route or anything like that. Still just Blink Stalkers. Just straight up Blink Stalkers here from both ShaDoWn and Nightmare. Nothing too fancy. Just continuing to scout each other. That's the other thing here, I guess, about this setup, is that if a player were to tech up in a weird direction, the opposing player would immediately know. They've been so on point with scouting each other with those hallucinations. And there it is. Nightmare is going to be the first to deviate. Ooh, and he does shut down that. He does shut down that hallucination. We have the Bay on the way. And a second robo. This is what I wanted. Double Disruptor production on the way for Nightmare. And so far, ShaDoWn hasn't seen it. He doesn't know. He tried to scout just previously. I don't know if you saw, but Nightmare did deny it, did blink and shut down the hallucination just in time. So, ShaDoWn is in the dark. Is in the dark. as he's taking a 4th. So ShaDoWn is going to have the slightly better economy. Meanwhile, Nightmare will have the slightly better army. I say slightly, Disruptors could be a much better army. It can, of course, swing and spike in favor of Nightmare very heavily, depending on how good these Novas are going to be. There we go. Disruptors are on the way. Again, ShaDoWn is still unaware of this. Still working towards his own Immortals and +2. Nightmare does have this. Sorry, ShaDoWn does have the slight upgrade advantage, but we're not too far behind here. Nightmare should be starting on +2 momentarily. So we are moving out. They're eventually taking that 4th. There we go. We have 2 Disruptors, soon to be 4. Again, double robot production can snowball out of control very quickly with just a mass amount of Disruptors. Now, if ShaDoWn was aware of this, he most likely would either be taking into Disruptors himself, as once again we get Eyes on Hallucination. Up, show us! And it looks like, yeah, the Hallucination does get denied once again. But usually we would either take up into Disruptors ourselves, we could go into Phoenixes, like double Stargate Phoenix production to pick up and shut down the Disruptors in a different way. Here we go, ShaDoWn is pushing. Not fully aware of what he's pushing into. So here we go, the Disruptors, they have been revealed. And we're looking to chase down the Immortal. The Immortal gets picked up immediately, the Novas go off as well. They don't connect, but they do zone back the army. That was 2 Novas, we still have 2 more in the chamber. And they're going to be going off. Bleak is on cooldown. Ooh, when the Novas, they connect, they take down another Immortal. And Nightmare, he's just snowballing out of control. He just shuts his army down again. ShaDoWn didn't know that he was walking into Disruptors until the fight occurred, until the fight did happen. Nightmare did a great job at hiding them. And now, the Disruptors, they're resetting. And he has 4 shots available once again. We can see Nightmare rotating around. Oh, he's actually going towards the pocket base. Bold move. I mean, he does have Blink Stalkers, but yeah, he can go in. Uh-oh. Okay, he does pull back. Just making sure there's no gold. Taking control of the Zelnaga. We can see ShaDoWn doing something very similar. Rotating over towards the south. The armies, I believe they have missed each other. And we'll see who catches who. Nightmare still has the upgrade advantage. We can see he wants to try to break through the rocks. He wants to try to go into the natural. Bold move here from ShaDoWn. He could force a recall at the same time. Nightmare pushing into the 3rd. Sorry, pushing into the 4th. And we're going for a base trade. There we go. Trading a base for a base. Nightmare, he's going to get the 4th. At the same time, ShaDoWn, he gets the 3rd. And who recalls first? That's the real question. Who flinches? Who recalls, if anyone? As we're getting on top of the natural, getting on top of the production, the Robos. No more Disruptors. No more Disruptors going to be available here for Nightmare. Things, they're getting rowdy as we bust into the main. There's the recall. But is it going to be enough? We don't have a shield battery. No shield batteries to support. Stalker versus Stalker. And Nightmare, the numbers are working against him. He just doesn't have enough. He needs another warp in. Speaking of ShaDoWn, he goes for a big warp in into the main base of Nightmare. And ShaDoWn, he has too much. He breaks the army. This recall was not it. Was unable to recall enough of his army. He is racing back home. The bay goes down. And ShaDoWn, he still has a recall. Remember that. He can still get the hell out of here. As he takes control of the main base, 44 workers go down. Nightmare is going to be trying to catch this army, but again, we just recall. Try to evacuate as much as we can. ShaDoWn is going to be bleeding out a lot of units. He wants to disrupt it. Oh! He gets 1! That's big. Gets 1 disruptor. Doesn't sound like a lot, but every disruptor has so much value here at the moment. To lose 1 is huge. Nightmare down to 3. Remember, he lost his Robos and he lost his Robotics Bay as well. I think he kept his Robos alive, but he lost his Bay. And as the dust does settle, ShaDoWn, he's on 69 drones. Nice. 69 probes even. He's on a 3-base economy. Nightmare is on 2. Nightmare's on 2 bases. The armies are pushing out. Now, Nightmare does have a supply lead. Bear that in mind. Nightmare, he has a larger army. He can still end the game with this push. It all comes down to this final engagement. Show us the armies. As here we go, the armies are looking to engage. ShaDoWn trying to chase down the army. The disruptors, they're exposed. One, we're gonna get one, we're gonna get two, we could get all three. Big Nova does connect. Oh my god. All three disruptors went down, but we did connect with a massive Nova. ShaDoWn, he's going for it. I love it. He's going for a Dark Shrine. Going for a Dark Shrine, going for DTs. Nightmare still has a supply lead. An army supply lead specifically. But we gotta go. We have to send it, Papi. The longer this goes on, the worse it is for Nightmare. As ShaDoWn, with a better economy, will soon have a better army as well. Here we go. It looks like Nightmare may be thinking about going towards the pocket base. Gonna be, yeah, knocking down those rocks. It's over. It's been a couple of times where I don't point it out too often, but specifically this game, there's been a couple of times where it looks like our observer's been a little bit distracted. But here we go. We're diving into the pocket base, getting into that third. Yeah, it looks like the Nexus is going to be going down, but we have Immortals, and that supply difference is no longer there. ShaDoWn, he's now up in army supply. Remember, the longer the game went on, the worse it was for Nightmare, and it's snowballing out of control in favor of ShaDoWn. The base trade went in his favor. That recall that Nightmare went for was not it. It just wasn't worth it. It hurt him more than it helped him. And we are looking to make a series out of this. You know, Matcherino, they had a really strong start, getting a 2-0 lead. Here come the DTs. Oh my god, we barely have an economy to begin with. And the Dark Templar, they're going ham. We're recalling that observer. Meanwhile, the army takes down the second base, the second mining base. The would-be fifth. And Nightmare, he's down to one base left, one mining base here. And he's still just trying to keep up with the DTs, with those Dark Templar. The probes. There are barely any of them left, and so many of them are going down here. Nightmare, he's supply blocked. He can't even afford to make, or he just can't make any units, period, at the moment. Again, Nightmare had such a strong start. Remember the first fight with his first 4 disruptors? He looked amazing there. And then the base trade. Then the base trade occurred, and that was the way that ShaDoWn was able to just wreak havoc, cause chaos, and thrive in that chaos as well. One misstep is all it takes. And ShaDoWn is maxed. He's just maxing out here, getting up to 200 supply, and just securing himself before committing. ShaDoWn, he doesn't want to throw this away. We have Blink on the way for those DTs, the Prism to reinforce. Once the Prism arrives, then we're going to be pushing, essentially. With the War Prism, we can then reinforce, we can juggle the Immortals. ShaDoWn wants to make sure that he dots every I, crosses every T. I almost said the inverse. Make sure he dots his T's, crosses his I's. Alphabet. Let's go. As we are pushing, the Prism has arrived. Likewise, we have a Warp Prism into the pocket base here of ShaDoWn. But we shouldn't turn back. We should commit. Hopefully ShaDoWn isn't tempted to recall, as he has a death bull of an army and he can break this position even with an overcharge. Back at home, a lot of probes are going down. That's 16 dead workers. That's an entire mineral line. Another more prism. As the Prism of Nightmare does get picked off. And hey, ShaDoWn, he may have lost 16 workers, but he has taken the gold. He is taking that gold base. You can see Nightmare just trying to fortify himself once again on these 4 bases. On this 4-base setup. But it shouldn't be enough. ShaDoWn, he does blink up into that pocket base once again. Never goes up. Does connect. Uh-oh. We take down the Prism. We take down a good chunk of Stalkers. Can Nightmare fight back from this? He's getting into Disruptors again. Okay, real talk. If Nightmare connects 2 juicy Novas, he could take a fight. Of course, ShaDoWn can remax from there. He has a better economy. So it's gonna take more than winning one fight, but Nightmare suddenly has potential with these disruptors. It's not impossible. They are the great equalizers. You can be down 30, 40 supply and still win a fight. Oh, wait, here we go. We're diving in. Never goes up. Does zone back the army. Good target firing out of ShaDoWn. Takes out one of those disruptors. Ooh, Nightmare bleeding out a little bit too much. Down to 2 disruptors. We got 2 more on the way. Is there a world? Can Nightmare pull this off? It's not going to be easy. Here we go. Once again, the concave heavily in favor of ShaDoWn as he's far ahead in army supply. Never going to force back the army. On both sides here. Nightmare popping that overcharge. He's holding. He's surviving. We're not living yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, Papi. ShaDoWn going to rotate around again. He's going for a mass Blink Stalker composition. I believe ShaDoWn did just start up and did just finish a Robotics Bay, so he can get into his own disruptors. He does outposition Nightmare. Gets into the pockets, going to shut down this Nexus. And now he can just blink the hell out. Oh my god. A decent Nova's actually. We clean up a good chunk of those Stalkers. Not a bad trade from Nightmare if only he hadn't lost the base. That's the downside here. Did lose his Nexus. Still down 40 supply. Okay, we have to be very careful with how and when we use these disruptors. We have 4 of them now. Overcharge is going to be popped. Blinks are being forced back. ShaDoWn is being forced back as well. And we are still holding on to those Novas. Looks like one of them's going to be going off. Novas, they will. Oh, no, no! They connect! Looking at the Unisols have at the wrong moment, but they do connect with the Stalkers. We still have 2 Novas left. We have 2 Novas remaining. You can see Nightmare trying to lure the army in. Trying to get a better angle of attack. Pulling back here to the shield battery. Nova goes off. Do you have a blink? ShaDoWn still maintaining his lead, but that was a massive blink. He's going for another. Novas! He's not looking! He's not looking. Takes another Nova to the face. Ay, ay, ay. We keep all the disruptors alive. We just need to do that a couple more times. Again, ShaDoWn, he has the better economy. He can trade. Like, he can still recover. He can still remax. It takes more than one good fight. The prism goes down. Nova does zone back the army. ShaDoWn is on what, 6 bases? 6 to 4. There we go, pushing on the left-hand side. ShaDoWn still so heavily committed here to just pure Blink Stalker instead of taking up into Sky Toss. He should still have this. Oh god. Oh my god. As he takes another Nova to the face. Big reaction out of ShaDoWn there on cams. Didn't like that. Ay, ay, ay. And ShaDoWn's going to be very careful here. As more Nova's going to be going off, and this time they will not connect. Nightmare getting a little bit cheeky. He's going for a ninja base. Nightmare, top left on the minimap. He's going for a hidden base here towards the top left. That's going to be huge if it gets up and running. And you can see, earlier Nightmare was down 50 supply. Now down 20. Like Nightmare, he is closing the gap, but I spoke too soon! Big blink into the bugger base. At the same time, ShaDoWn pushing towards left-hand side. I love that he is going to be trying to flex the size of his army. He takes down another base. Nexus falls. And this is how we play this out. Again, ShaDoWn has numbers on his side. He's pulling Nightmare apart. But again, Nightmare, he's closing the gap in army supply. Technically, he's even in army supply. He's just down in workers. Which is scary. So ShaDoWn has to be very careful here with how he engages. Observer did go down. which means we could go for DTs. Like, Blink is done for ShaDoWn for his Dark Templar. Oh my god, and Nightmare, for all intents and purposes, he has in a way recovered. He does get away with top left. The Nexus is up, but it's not running yet. He has to recall. He needs to recall to get that mining. ShaDoWn doesn't have eyes on it. Ooh, as he blinks into the pocket, and we were waiting, by the way. Massive Nova goes off once again. What's what? The third, the fourth Nova, and yo, we can dive on this. Nightmare, he knows. He has momentum. Dives on the army. Picking off so many Stalkers, and suddenly things are swinging in favor of Nightmare. Look at how many Disruptors he has. What is that, 10? Oh my god, the Prism goes down. Not like this. You can see ShaDoWn is getting ready for a counterattack. We have another force of Blink Stalkers towards the south. Nightmare is in position in his pocket base. But Nightmare, okay, he's going to be rotating over towards the left. He takes it. He does find one of those observers. Oh, Nightmare out of position. You can see that he's pulling his army back towards the left. Nova's going to be going off. Okay, we do pull back. At the same time, Nightmare out of position. He gets pulled away, which means he's not here to protect this pocket. The Nexus will go down for what, like the 5th time? It's died so often. This time, though, Nightmare, he can chase. He has the size for it. He has the army for it. He's chasing ShaDoWn back. Disruptors pushing forward. Both armies, or both players, microing on 2 fronts. Nova's going to be going up. Turning back the army. Gold base goes down. Shield battery is going to try to help, going to try to support. Nightmare has to be very careful here. A lot of these Disruptors looking vulnerable. Yeah, ShaDoWn has momentum. He's trying to collapse on this army from all angles. He's going for the surround. Nova's got off big connections, but we get a full surround here, and it looks like ShaDoWn, can he clean this up? He might be able to. Yeah, the Disruptors are trying to escape, but too many of them are going to be going down. A big catch here for ShaDoWn. It looks like he may have just done it. Oh my god. This is what he needed. Big overextension from Nightmare, losing every single Disruptor. He almost came back. He almost came back in this game. But ShaDoWn was able to just get the better engage here towards the end. And he can chase this all the way back. Big blink here from ShaDoWn. He's got double the army supply at this point. Resetting the Disruptor count. Yeah, it's going to be going up. Oh my god. Grazing the army. Oh, was that a tell? Oh, not a tell. Not enough for ShaDoWn. He does come across some of these probes. Is he going to check? He's thinking, yeah, there it is. GG gets called. Whew. And ShaDoWn will take game number 1. But that was not an easy one. Oh my god. GG, well played. ShaDoWn will take it in the end. We'll take game 1 after being in a rough position. I should emphasize this as well. Remember, winding it back like 15 minutes ago, Nightmare was ahead. Nightmare, he was able to rush into Disruptors, take some really good fights, and he initiated the base trade. In the base trade, ShaDoWn came out on top. He was able to trade better against the army, take down more bases, cripple the economy as well of Nightmare, and Nightmare was dead. Nightmare was dead from that moment. And somehow he was able to remax, recover. It took him like 10 minutes, but he was able to just bounce back with these amazing Novas, and in the end, it barely wasn't enough. In the end, Nightmare got a little bit too excited. He got a little bit too adventurous towards the end when he got surrounded, but he was coming back. It was wild. It was something that should not have happened, and with that, ShaDoWn does take game 1, but that's one of those wins that doesn't feel amazing. Like, it's what that 100% you could see in that game. When a couple of those Novas were connecting, it was like halfway through, there was a moment where ShaDoWn reacted on cams, and you could see his heart fall a little bit, where you could see him be like, yo, am I throwing this? you could see that. You could see that moment, and that's not a good feeling. But thankfully, ShaDoWn, he does take it in the end, but oh boy, we had to fight for it. We had to. We had to fight so hard for it, and here we go. We're getting ready for game 2. it's going to be Nightmare's map of choice. His map of choice, it's going to be Hardland. Let's go. Ah. Aye. Let's go. Nightmare in the closet? Yes. Nightmare is Harry Potter confirmed. Does play from his closet. Oh, but here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Hardland, we have, for the Platinum Heroes, it is ShaDoWn. And spawning in the top left, we have, for Matcherino Esports, it is Nightmare. Is this clean feed? Yes. Exclamation mark delay in the chat. For WTL, we typically do cast from a clean feed. Typically how WTL does operate. We only ever observe ourselves if there's like technical issues. If you've been watching this season of WTL, it's happened like once or twice where the clean feed connection to the outside world is a little bit shaky and it gets a little bit rough. If that ever happens, then we are usually invited into the games themselves. Otherwise, clean feed. Oh, here we go. Sorry, just catching up, and here we go. So far, we're getting to some standard openers. It is going to be 2-gate openers here all around from both Nightmare and ShaDoWn. Everything is looking normal for the time being. We do see ShaDoWn scouting the edges here of the map, looking for, or even actually looking to throw down his own pylon. Oh, never mind. He's just scouting. Does throw down his second pylon in his own main base. He's just scouring the map here, avoiding the probe of Nightmare. As Nightmare checks all those proxies. And here we go again. I feel like I have to settle down after that game. I have to calm things down a little bit. Again, Nightmare, he saw the probe moving in this direction, but ShaDoWn did outposition Nightmare, did escape with his probe, and he is going to remain hidden here, as our players were not able to scout their opponents. Again, we are loading into Hardland. Something that I should mention is, of course, Hardland is a very small map, has a very short rush distance, so aggression is favored, which is why you can see both players are just so adamant about scouting. They're both all over the map right now with their probes, making sure that there is no hidden proxy. Aggression is definitely favored on a map like this. And there it is. It's going to be a one-base all-in. Nightmare, he's going for not a proxy, but that is going to be a robo-based opener alongside a third gateway. This should be for a warp prism and to send stalkers across the map. Meanwhile, ShaDoWn, what's our tech going to be? Do we expand? I'm hoping for a robo opener, but there's no tell. That's the problem. ShaDoWn, there's nothing really to read here to tell him that there's aggression coming. And there it is. ShaDoWn is going to be expanding. He gets caught out. One stalker will fall. We're going to be trading a stalker for a stalker. Oh, I say that. Nightmare trading a little bit better in the end. 2 for 1. And ShaDoWn, he's opening up economically, going for that expansion. Meanwhile, little does he know that Nightmare is committed. There it is. The War Prism's on the way. The all-in is upon us. And ShaDoWn still hasn't seen this. He still hasn't confirmed. Now he's going for a robo, which is nice and all, but this robo may be a little bit too late for ShaDoWn. It's going to be close. Probe comes in. Probe doesn't scout. So far, Nightmare's done a great job here, just denying any kind of scouting information from his opponent. You can see here, just quickly checking. We were looking to see if ShaDoWn had any vision. The answer is no. We do have a safety shield battery on the low ground. We should be seeing hallucinations soon. But if we hallucinate, that means we don't have force fields. If we don't have force fields, that means we may just lose our natural. There it is. We do get eyes on the army. And now ShaDoWn knows. You can see reactive cams. He does shake his head. Oh, God. Boys are being fooled. We have a shield battery. We have an overcharge. Immortal is on the way, but it just now started. And Nightmare has arrived. It goes for the shield battery. Shuts it down. Good juggling so far, keeping his stalkers alive. And ShaDoWn has to give up on his natural. Now, as a reminder, Nightmare is all in. Killing the natural is not enough. He has to keep going. And we are buying time for that Immortal. The Immortal is on the way. Made out of force field. The Immortal does arrive. Ooh, ShaDoWn gets supply blocked. Oh, that's brutal. Losing the Nexus does supply block him. Gateway's going to be going down. We're down to one single gateway. One gateway, one robo. That's all the production we have. We can't afford to lose another gateway here. We have to warp it as much as we can. There's no shield battery. The Adepts, they're shading into the middle line. Stalkers are being dragged back as well. Another force field does buy some time. Second Immortal's on the way. That's going to be a big power spike here for ShaDoWn. That second Immortal is going to be a big moment for him. As he ferries a couple of Adepts into the mineral line. Probes are going down. Yeah, the gateway's going to fall. We get in. We bust into the main base. Focus down the sentries. Every sentry goes down. Well, we have a second Immortal. If only we had a shield battery. Oh. Yeah, gateway goes down. We're forcing the army out of the main base at least. But the Adepts are still wreaking havoc. Getting 6 probe kills. From here, if Nightmare really wanted to, he could expand. But he's making an Immortal. He's going for a Stargate. He's doubling down here on his all-in. And again, ShaDoWn doesn't have any gateways up and running yet. He's throwing down 2 gateways as we speak. He's up to 3 Immortals. That's a pretty hefty Immortal count, actually. You have to respect it. Stalkers, they get into the mineral line. Pick up another couple of workers. And again, there's no blink that Nightmare has to worry about. His prism is safe. We snipe an observer. We can maybe snipe a pylon as well. Picking ShaDoWn apart. You see ShaDoWn trying to expand. Again, the one advantage that ShaDoWn has is his Immortal counts. Oh, but I'm loving the Phoenixes. I'm loving the Phoenix production here from Nightmare. It's a good way to crowd control and to CC these Immortals. A really good way to deal with them. We have 1 Phoenix for now. We have a second Phoenix on the way. We thread this shade. And again, ShaDoWn doesn't know if Nightmare is expanding or not. The Prism! Prism takes a lot of hits. The War Prism does go down. A big misstep there from Nightmare. Big overextension. But who's really overextending here? So here we go. We dive on the army. We trigger those shields. We pick up 2 of those Immortals. And we dive on in, focusing down as many Immortals as we can. We get 1. We get 2. And we're getting 3. 1 Immortal remaining here for ShaDoWn. Is it going to be enough though? He might be able to push us back. He does. We trade 1 for 1. But Nightmare, he's losing too much. Oh, you can see Nightmare shaking his head a little bit there. Again, getting a little bit too over-eager. This is still close. I say close. Mate, ShaDoWn, he has an expansion. Nightmare expands. This Stargate play was not worth it. Instead of throwing down the Stargate, Nightmare had a choice. Nightmare had a choice to make. He could either expand or double down and go for Phoenix production. He went for the Phoenixes and it was not worth it in the end. And now you can see the economy shifting in favor of ShaDoWn. Up on 2 bases, up in Immortal production. ShaDoWn has survived. Nightmare, he had to either kill his opponents or get ahead economically, and he did neither. Nightmare, he was able to achieve neither in the end, and with that, ShaDoWn, he's in a good position. Looking good back. We're now working towards the Twilight Council, towards Blink. ShaDoWn's still on 1 base economy. And we could see a tied-up series. We could go the distance, Papi. It's possible. ShaDoWn popping off tonight. I mean, hey, he was DreamHack Atlanta's BYOC champion, if I'm not mistaken. Our most recent DreamHack Atlanta champion coming in strong here against Nightmare. Blink is on the way. We're recovering in the economy. Phoenix is trying to threaten, but alas, we have Stalkers in position. And how do we come back? Okay. So, for Nightmare, unlike the previous game, there's no disruptors available. He has to rely on out-positioning his opponents, on maybe getting into a mineral line with his Oracle. So far, though, ShaDoWn is keeping up. Nightmare does have eyes on the third. He's moving out with his entire army. Here we go. Nightmare cutting workers early on. Second all-in. No gases at his natural. It's all or nothing here for Nightmare. He does have a comparable army size. He's going for the lifts on that Immortal. He picks it up. Gets the Immortal. No shot. It's no shot. It lives. Oh, it's on 1 HP. Also, where's the shield battery? Where's the overcharge? The Immortal does live, though. We force a cancel on the third base, and we're going to be picking up the Immortal. Keep it alive. Pull it back. Throw down a goddamn shield battery. No, the Immortal. It's going to go down. It gets lifted. As we do have the armies engaged here, the Immortal somehow still alive in the air. But last it finally will go down. Nightmare getting forced back, though. The power of the Immortal in favor of Nightmare. Oh, that was a wild blink of ShaDoWn. I don't think that was intentional. You can see ShaDoWn laughing on cam there for a moment. Oh god, that blink took down, I guess, the Phoenixes, but not worth it there in the end. Forced to recall, and it looks like Nightmare, the secondary all-in. The second all-in is maybe becoming a bit too much. Again, no shield battery, no overcharge. No stack defense here at the natural base. A little bit too greedy here from ShaDoWn. Boys are being pulled. We're diving on the Prism. More Prism gets picked up. We're getting the Immortal. But ShaDoWn, he's going down to 8 probes. He's going down to barely an economy. Oh, those adepts, they were going ham the entire time. And they're still going ham. They still want more economic damage here as... Nightmare, it looks like he has done it here. It's the roller coaster ride of emotions from one player into the other. At first, Nightmare was looking good, then ShaDoWn, then Nightmare again. ShaDoWn is going for a counter all-in. It's all or nothing for him. No more economy, no more probes. Phoenix does threaten the lift. GG is going to get called, and with that, Nightmare will take the game. We'll tie it up 1-1. But that was so close as well. ShaDoWn, he had his moment. You can see, feeling a little bit upset about that game, and I don't blame him. Like, ShaDoWn was in the driver's seat after defending the initial all-in. ShaDoWn was so far ahead, but was maybe a little bit too greedy. Maybe just not thinking of, again, preparing for that counterattack. And with that, well played here by Nightmare. And now we're settling into the final best of 2. It's going to come down to Firefly versus Future. Now, Firefly is the ace player of the Platinum Heroes. He's a very strong player. If they were to rely on anyone to 2-0, it's going to be Firefly. Firefly needs to 2-0 to force out... He needs to 2-0 to force the ace match. Future needs 1 game. 1 win here will win the series. It's first to 4, and Matcherino are on match point. Going to be going on a short break. When we return, the final best of 2. See you soon. And we are back here with the final best of 2 of this Team League match, and it's all on the line. This could still go either way. As you mentioned before, Firefly needs a 2-0 win here to force the ace match. Future needs one. Uno mas. One win is all he needs to win it all for Matcherino Esports. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets in the chat for how you think this series will unfold, as in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris, we have, for the Platinum Heroes, Firefly. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have for Matcherino Esports, it is Future. Predictions open. As a reminder, this is going to be a best of 2. Could go either way, but again, the pressure is on Firefly, and you know, he is one of the latest pickups of the Platinum Heroes. He was the ace player of the Starving Camels last season, in the summer season of WTL, and he has quickly cemented himself as the ace player of the Platinum Heroes here in the winter season. And again, if they had to rely on anyone for a 2-0, it would be Firefly. Can he pull it off though? Can he bring it home? So we're getting into our TVP. We're taking a break from the PvPs for now. Platinum Heroes, they killed the camel. I mean, it is a little bit sad. Like the Starving Camels, they were such a great team last season. They did so well for themselves. Here on the CranKy Ducklings, we quickly became a fan of the Starving Camels. Like they were the star team, the standout performance of WTL summer of this year. But since then, players have moved on to greener pastures. You know, we had Firefly joining the Platinum Heroes. Recently, ShaDoWn got picked up by Mystery Gaming. So I mean, it's a little bit bittersweet, right? It's a little bit bittersweet because, you know, they've kind of left the flock and left their original home. But I do know that the Starving Camels, they're mainly like a group of friends, or as we do get the CC on low ground. They're mainly a group of friends that don't really have much of a salary they can pay their players. In an interview, they talked about how they were really happy. They were really happy for Firefly to get onto a team and actually get more opportunities. And I'm sure they feel the same about ShaDoWn. I'm sure the Starving Camels feel the same about ShaDoWn. I know that they're all still good friends. I know that they're all still, you know, still keep in touch and still practice together as well. So they are more than supportive for their ex-Camels. As we are getting into this, and for the time being, it's going to be an economic opener from Future. He's going for a Rax expand. A bit of a delayed Rax where he was able to hide his SCV, but he does get it on location, and the Firefly is just making sure that everything's on the up and up, just making sure that nothing was proxied. We have our tech of choice. It is going to be a Twilight Council from our Protoss play. Twilight Council opener here from Firefly. Now, talking about our players for a moment, Future is typically a very aggressive player. He's very unique as well. He comes up with his own builds, and when I say aggressive, sometimes one base all-ins, but usually Future thrives on 2-base play in TVP. So he can be quite difficult to keep up with, quite difficult to read. Hallucination comes in, confirms the timing of the CC. And we do confirm the factory on the high ground as well. Looks like we're going for a standard opener. Future going for a Racked Expand into a Widowmine drop. So Widowmines to begin with. Meanwhile, Firefly has 2 more gates on the way. I believe it's going to be a 3-gate Blink opener out of Firefly, so a very safe play from our Protoss. Going to be walling off just in time. Oh my god. No entry allowed here as the Hellions try to avoid that wall. They try to slip by the Adepts, but no. Firefly is in position. The wall is a wall. And I love that he only shades with one Adept. He keeps the other to wall off on hold position. So really nice control there out of Firefly. He does hold on to his bases, does hold on to his economy for the time being. Behind this, a very committed Widowmine drop. It's not 1, it's not 2, it's 4 Widowmines coming out for Future. Zooming across the map. We are going to be zooming. At the same time, Adepts, they get into the mineral line as well. They try to focus down. They get the Mule. The Mule will fall. Getting a good pick up. Here come the mines. 3 of them. 3 Widow Mines into the natural waste. Boys are being pulled. We do react in time. We do minimize our losses. Ooh, I say that, but we get 4 probe kills for 3 mine shots. Not too bad. I mean, it was 3 Widow Mines, so like, the Hellions get in! Oh my god! Firefly for one moment was out of position. The Hellions, they get into the mineral line, and they shouldn't get too much more, but they get an extra probe kill in the main. 5 in total. We also get a full scout. That's what's important. Usually when it comes to these dives, on the one hand, it's kind of about getting damage, true. What's more important, confirming the gateways. With that, Future is now fully aware of the 3 gates, not 4, so he knows that his opponent is going to be expanding. He knows that Firefly is more concerned with taking a 3rd, less so with counterattack. Which means Future is safe back at home. He's just building up his bio army, working on his gases. We have a Raven moving out across the map. He knows he doesn't need it back at home. And Future can focus on harassing and working on that next step. Stim +1. We should be going for a 3rd. We'll keep an eye on the 3rd CC timing of Future to see if he does go for a 2-base all-in or if he goes for a 3rd. We'll see what direction he goes in. Ooh, as we may have a bit of latency here. There we go. Going to be going for a bit of a pause. And making sure that we're able to clear things up. Now, what's good about this, thankfully, if we are experiencing a little bit of latency, is that we're able to pause before any kind of big fight happens. There's nothing major going on right now. We see Future macroing up, getting into another Rax. I believe he's going up to 5 Raxes back at home. Meanwhile, Firefly is establishing his 3rd base. So everything is chilling. Everything is settling down. The next kind of big moment here, one, Future is still harassing. He still has 2 Widow Mines in between the Natural and the 3rd, and he has the Raven coming in towards the main. So he still has harassment opportunities. On top of that, we still don't know if Firefly wants to go into Colossus or into Charge Lots. Like, how he wants to supplement his army. He could go Robo Colossus, he could go Templar Archives into Storm, into Charge Lots. The composition of Firefly is still a little bit in flux, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see kind of what direction we do go in. And there we go. We have 5 gates on the way. Oh my... We have our answer. Firefly, we've got 5 gateways in production. We have Charge on the way and a Warp Prism. We are doubling down on a Swarm Toss style. Who needs Colossi? Who needs Storm when you have Stalkers and Zealots? Meanwhile, Future likewise going to be moving out with his first couple of tanks. Now this push is going to be lining up with Stim. Stim is on the way and should finish by the time he gets across the map. Getting a 3rd CC on location. Bold move here from Future. Very greedy. Raven coming into the main base, getting a couple of probe kills. At the same time, Firefly is going to be harassing with that Warp Prism. He does get eyes on the building 3rd CC. He's going to be able to delay it, maybe even deny it. Meanwhile, the main push has been spotted. Firefly getting in position. Does he have enough to defend? Good force field. Oh my god! Catches those tanks on the ramp even. Very nicely done. We clean up so many Marines as well. The Prism is going to be going down, but we get 1 tank. We get the 2nd tank as well. Ooh, as we get a bit of a pause here, and no, that is not the time to lag. Oh god. Not like this. I mean, that was a big moment. That was a really solid moment for Firefly. He was able to deny the 3rd base. He was able to shut down the tank, shut down the army. But it looks like there is a little bit of instability here, and we do get back in. Here we go. We do have Future pushing up that ramp. Mine shots are avoided. Good blinks here from Firefly. Does blink away. Does take down that medevac as well. And Firefly will force back the army. At the same time, it wasn't just a denial on the 3rd. He forced a cancel. He forced a cancel on the 3rd base of Future. So really good cleanup. And he is chasing Future back home. Oh my god. Cleaning up so much of this army. Marines, medevacs go down. Again, Firefly completely shut down the push. Future, his 3rd base is delayed. He's trying to catch back up into this. Now, in the midst of all this, Firefly did lose his Warp Prism. Remember, his Warp Prism across the map was killed in the main by Marines, if you recall that earlier, so it is going to be rebuilt, remade. This means that Firefly couldn't quite reinforce, but now that he's rebuilt it, he's pushing out again. As Firefly pushes, 4th Nexus is on the way. Firefly, economically, he's not skipping a beat. He has a Zealot in position. Future's pushing through the middle, by the way. Both armies are going to be missing each other, and I'm really concerned here for Firefly. Uh-oh. Future pushing right down the middle. Firefly out of position across the map instead. And I don't know if we can even deal with this army, even if Firefly was back at home. And we bust into that natural base. +1 is going to be denied. We do get Zealots into the main though. SCVs are going down. But this force here from Future is terrifying. Would you recall? We recall back home. We have the overcharge as well. Can Firefly survive? He barely has an army to speak of. Boys are being pulled as well. But he does force back the army. But again, Future, he's rallying everything across the map. Firefly, he needs time to warp in. He needs time to rebuild. He's got 700 minerals in the bank. But Future, he's just applying so much pressure here. Firefly's in a lot of trouble. Here we go, the Marine Marauder pushing on forward. Hitting a timing with 1-1, with Stim. With combat shields. Yeah, the shield battery was dealt with. No backup shield battery here, no overcharge. We break the third base. And it looks like Future is going to be able to clean this up. Is going to be able to do it all here for his team, for Matcherino. Firefly did well initially, but again, maybe was trading a little bit too wastefully. Lost a little bit too much. Future gained too much momentum here. GG gets pulled, and Future will take game number 1 and the series for Matcherino. GG. GG, well played. I hope the latency wasn't a factor here. I don't want to make excuses, of course, but I hope the pauses and the latency wasn't too impactful when it came to the game and didn't negatively impact the players either. I do hope that, but regardless, GG, well played. Future, of course, does come out on top here, does take game 1. We will still play out game 2. Game 2 will still be played out, but Matcherino will win this. They have confirmed their win here, and is it enough to get them into the playoffs? I don't think so. Unfortunately, despite the efforts from Matcherino, even with this win, I believe they still don't have a good enough score to actually make it all the way into the playoffs. It's close, don't get me wrong, but regardless, they are looking to claim the win here. Firefly can still redeem himself though. He can still fight back, not just for himself, but for his own ELO ratings and his own personal score and his team standing as well. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because I mentioned before, Masters Coliseum, the qualifiers are next week, and invites are going to be coming out as well, based on players' performances in Kung Fu Cup and WTL proper. So, again, those invites are reserved for the highest rated players here, and those invites will be fanned out soon, I'm sure. Will be sent out soon. As it looks like we have our map of choice, it is going to be Algyone for the final game. The final game of the night. Let's go. Also, yes, we have confirmation that actually tomorrow we will determine the final the final team to make it into the playoffs. All the other kind of slots are cemented. They are in stone. And here we go in the top right-hand corner. We have for the Platinum Heroes, it is Firefly. And in, oh my god, in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have Matcherino Esports. It is Future. Setting an SCV out very quickly across the map. This is looking like an eBay block, I imagine, but we'll see. We'll see what kind of direction Future wants to take this in. As he does try to skirt around the right-hand side, the edge of the map. Ooh, and we are not going for an eBay block. We're going for a proxy Rax. Okay. Future, you have my attention. Yes, there, Future. But I did mention earlier that he is typically a very aggressive player, as we even saw in the last game. Very aggressive, very in your face. Now, it's only going to be one Rax, and it looks like there is not a spot available there for something like an add-on, like a tech lab for a proxy Marauder. Gases are being taken. It looks like this should just be a singular proxy Rax into a factory back at home, but we'll see if Future has something else in store for us. But I'm feeling just a proxy Reaper. go. We do see the probe does confirm that the Rax is missing, and Firefly is looking. He's looking for where that Rax could be, bearing in mind that it is not uncommon for the Rax to be thrown down deeper into the main, or at the third base, or at the fourth base, or at the natural. Firefly is on the hunt. He's looking for it. Meanwhile, we can see that it is going to be just a proxy Reaper. And this should also lead into a bunker as well. With this SCV, you can throw down a bunker on the low ground. There it is, factory is on the way. So with this, Firefly now knows it's not a proxy 2 Rax. There it is, eBay has been thrown down, but the Zealot is here to deny it. Shut this down. Do force against. Now the upside here is that the natural base has been delayed for Firefly. That is true. Nexus is later than it otherwise should have been. But outside of that, we're going to be able to force back this Reaper. Again, the Nexus is also delayed because of the Force Zealot. So a little bit of wasted resources there for Firefly. Not a bad start for future. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good start here. As he is going to be going for that CC as a follow-up. Again, it was a double gas opener. And this Probe Scout is going to get eyes and confirm the CC. So Firefly knows it's not going to be a one-base all-in. We can see that it's going to be a 1-1-1 follow-up. Medevac should be leading into a Widowmine drop with Medevacs. Starport should be leading into Medevacs, I should say. But we'll see. Meanwhile, back at home, Firefly's tech of choice is going to be a Twilight Council. Should be for Blink Stalkers. How many gateways is the big question? Is it going to be 2-gate Blink, 3-gate, or even 4-gate Blink Stalkers? For now, 2 gateways. Very standard, very economic. We'll see if we commit a little bit harder. Good positioning with the Zealot. Oh my. Firefly. Oh, meanwhile, we're getting ready for the KDA charge. Again, Futury can use his grenades to knock up that Stalker and to rush in with his Hellion. That's exactly what I got. Does not get out of position. But we'll back up. So far, so good for Firefly. Behind this, no additional gateway explosion. Reapers are going to dip in, though the Zealot not quite where it needed to be. But you get one probe kill. One probe for one Reaper. Not the best trade, but the Hellion does slip in. And do we get a scout? Oh, we do. Barely slips into the main base. We get eyes on the tech, on the production, confirming how few gateways there are. No additional gateways, no Dark Shrine. Future's going to be feeling pretty good about this position. As we can see, it was 2-gate Blink into a 3rd. So Firefly working on that faster 3rd base. Very economic here from Firefly. Future is aware of this, is going to confirm this with his Widowmine drop, as he does get eyes on the timing of the 3rd Nexus. And behind this, Future throws down 2 more Raxes. He's setting up for a big push here on 2 bases. Raven production well underway. This table being researched. We go for the mine drop here into the natural. Oh my, oh god! Jeez. We on Boru retargets and the Widowmine will go down. Doesn't get a shot off, but did deny a lot of mining time, and it did give me a heart attack. I just, ay. Calm down, Future, calm down. Blink on the way, of course, as well as the Forge. Remember, it's only 2 gateways up and running for Firefly, so we can't really harass, so we can't really be too active. Again, this opener from Firefly is a little more economic, less so aggressive. So he's kind of stuck at home. Meanwhile, Future, he's free to do whatever he wants. I believe he's on a 3-1-1 setup. 3 Raxes, 1 Factory, 1 Starport. From here, he can either choose to throw down 2 more Raxes or throw down a 3rd CC. We are an Alki on it, and typically it is considered difficult to break a 3-basing player, so I imagine Future's going to work on a 3rd, but yet to be determined. We shall see. Once again, the mid-game of Firefly looking the same as game 1. He's going for a big gateway explosion. 6 gates on the way. My apologies. 8 gates in total with +1 armor. We have a charge on the way as well. So once again, a swarm toss composition. Now, this playstyle from Firefly, it can be difficult to pull off. It is ideal when it comes to engaging out of the open. When it comes to trying to break a defending player, a little bit less so. It also takes a lot of economy and a lot of momentum to really get going, just because your army is so fragile. What I mean by that is that there's no backbone to the army, right? Like there's no storm, there's no disruptors, there's no colossus. Because of that, like your army, you have to be very careful with how and when you engage. Speaking of, we do come across that prism. A lot of damage is dealt. And here we go, the upgrades are kicking in. Stim, combat shields, Future is going to be pushing. Now, like we saw previously, I imagine Future is going to throw down the third CC behind this push as he attacks. We should be seeing that expansion momentarily. Oh, as we do get eyes on the Observer, we'll shut it down. But Firefly does spot the move out. Is getting in position. I'm loving these Zealots peeled off towards the left-hand side for us around. Here we go, we are going to be pushing. As we're pointing out, still no third CC. We should have been seeing one by now, is what I will say. As Future, he does have control of the center of the map. Immortal production has commenced, so Firefly is going to have a little bit more tech to his army, which I do appreciate. He wants to try to get us around if possible here. He's looking to collapse on this position from both angles. Widowmines are going to be borrowing, but what about the friendly fire? Oh my god! Big mine shots go up here. A lot of friendly fire as well. We get a big warp in, and Firefly completely swallows up this army. Again, he had the most perfect engage. Came in for a full surround, 360. And again, the Widowmines did not help Future there. Not at all. Here we go. We're breaking on through, this time with Immortals. Reinforcements are on the way. Remember, Future, he doesn't have a third base behind this. He just now starts it. Just now begins. Meanwhile, we do have the Prism into the main base, going for a Zealot run by, or Zealot drop into that mineral line. Forcing back a lot of this army. The Prism is going to be going down. Was this worth it for Firefly? He will lose his reinforcements. No more Prism. Nice force field, though. He's going for the mineral line, going for the SCV, so we have another force field. We recall back home. I love that only the Immortals are recalled. That's such a little, like, minute detail, but it's so good. Again, the Stalkers can blink, the Immortals cannot. So they will just get the hell out of there. We get 11 SCV kills. Future's economy not looking too good. And Firefly, he's racing back home with his main army, but he's also getting ready for another counterattack with his Zealots. Towards the top left, big Zealot run by being set up. Prison's being rebuilt. Firefly is getting a fourth base. This time Firefly has momentum. This time the pressure is on Future, but the Zealots, they come in as Future's pushing out. We catch some reinforcements. We catch some Marines, some Marauders. Mine shots going to be zoning away the army. But we're still getting more SCVs, and we force everything back home. Future, he races back home to deal with this, and he will, don't get me wrong. He will clean up these Zealots. But Firefly, he's not done. He was merely licking his wounds, recovering, and now he wants to engage once again. That's a lot of Widowmines once again behind this. This time, much better Widowmine shots here on only the Zealots, not on the rest of the army. But there's still just too much to handle. GG gets called, and Firefly will take game number 2. We'll tie it up 1-1. GG. Oh. GG, well played, and a solid game there from Firefly, but again, unfortunately, not enough for his team. Not enough to win this in the end, as Matcherino will come out on top. Congratulations, and a big shout out to Astrea, Nightmare, and Future. They do win it here from Matcherino 4-2 against the Platinum Heroes, but at the same time, a big shout out to the Platinum Heroes for making Matcherino work for it, as well as Firefly and ShaDoWn for taking their own respective games, and for, yeah, almost taking the series as well. Remember, ShaDoWn versus Nightmare was so close, and that could have been a 2-0 in favor of ShaDoWn as well. Like, we could have seen a very different outcome here. A very different game. So, yeah, GG. GG. Congratulations to our players here, to our teams, and I hope everyone had a great time. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves in the chat. It was a great day of StarCraft, and we have 1 day left. This was day 2 of round 11 of WTL. Tomorrow is day 3. Tomorrow is the final day of World Team League and of the World Team League round robin stage. And it's going to be pretty important, actually. Right now, we have our top teams confirmed for who makes it into the playoffs, except for one. There's still enough room for one more team. It's either going to be Mystery Gaming or Starlight Twinkle. One or the other. I mean, it's going to come down to tomorrow. So tomorrow's matches are going to be the Starving Camels versus Mystery Gaming and Starlight Twinkle versus Shopify Rebellion. Depending on who wins and who loses, that will impact and influence who makes it out of the round robin stage and who makes it into the playoffs. It's going to come down to the wire. Going to come down to those two teams, Mystery Gaming and Starlight Twinkle, and that is going to be tomorrow. That is going to be tomorrow. Likewise, I think we have a lot going on tomorrow, if not mistaken. It's a big day of StarCraft, and I'm going to have to get some rest early on here. So if you're curious, if you're interested, if you want to support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, our next broadcast is in 12 hours. In 12 hours time, we're going to be live with KSL, week number 39. Then after that, we have GPO number 99, just merely a couple of hours after KSL. And then after that, we have the final day of World Team League. So back to back to back, 3 broadcasts. 3 broadcasts tomorrow on Saturday. It's going to be a big day of StarCraft. It'll be a big day again. It all starts in 12 hours time. Now, to be fair, Saturday is going to be really intense for us here on the CranKy Ducklings. But Sunday, we have nothing planned. Sunday is Christmas Eve. So we will be taking Christmas Eve off. We will be calming things down, and you can take that time to spend time with your families, with your friends, just enjoy the holidays, and just take a day off and just sleep. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be sleeping. I might stream on my channel. I'm probably gonna stream. I'm probably gonna stream on my personal channel to try to catch up on everything. But yeah. With that, hope you all had a good time. Hope you all had an amazing day of StarCraft. And again, it continues in 12 hours time with the KSL. With that, you can also follow myself, Light_VIP. You can follow me on, I guess, Twitter, Facebook. I do stream over on Twitch. I do stream over on my Twitch channel whenever I can, and I should be streaming on Christmas Eve. I should be able to get my first ladder session in 2 weeks. We've been so busy, we just haven't really had the time to get into all of that, but it's coming. It is coming. Look forward to it. Yeah, other than that, hope everyone had a great time, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the finale of WTL, for the continuation of KSL, and one of our final GPOs of the year. See you tomorrow. Hasta luego. Bye. Hasta luego.